Hi guys, this is Anonymous recording another Warcraft 3 audio commentary, and, well, I'm going to pause the game right now. I can't put this off any longer. I have to do a commentary on how to beat mass towers with Orc, because it's annoying. I know. Every Orc player hates towers. And as you can see here, we have a human. The human in this game, and the next one, is Resolver, who... Now, before you say, who the heck is Resolver? This is noob, I don't want to watch it. Resolver is a very good Korean player. He's probably one of the best players who's not a pro. And in this game, his opponent is Who, or formerly Bet. I guess he's now MTW Who. But for me, he's always Bet Who, because that way you can say, after he wins a game, Bet Who wins. Yeah. Okay. Enough of that. Two games between Resolver and Who. They're from the same series, which is the ZOTAC 37, the finals. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to spoil the result of that series. Not that you're probably going to watch. You're probably not going to watch it. I'm not going to record the other 3 games of it. But Resolver actually ends up winning the series. So Resolver beats Who. Who is on fire, by the way. So this is not a mean accomplishment. Resolver is serious business. Yeah. So this is not a noob game by any measure. And yeah, Who is no noob either. What you're going to see here is how to beat the mass towers, and basically the key is the early game, because I would say about 75% of games involving, not mass towers, sorry, tower push, different annoying things from human that I often call the same thing because they're both about equally annoying. Anyway, Who has really good early games here, and I'm going to try and show how those are important. About 75% of games against tower pushes are, I believe, won or lost in the early game rather than at the tower push itself. Occasionally you will see a player mess up the tower push really badly, or a player succeed at fighting off the tower push when he shouldn't have been able to because of good play, but most of the time it's the early game that's at issue. So I'm going to show you how the early game works in mass towers, what you need to do, the amount of pressure you need to apply, and then how to beat the towers once they come into your base, which you do have to do. Now this game is on the later tower push, the tower push with the Mountain King usually, rather than the Firelord tower push. Firelord is a different story. If you're facing a Firelord tower push, Archmage Firelord, you need to play it differently. You're not going to have your tier 2 buildings up. You're going to have to do a different strategy. But this is the one, we're assuming here that basically the tower push comes just about as you get your tier 2 buildings up. And so I'll show you how this works. Anyway, for this game, I have taken notes. So this is going to be good audio, because I have notes. We hope. Okay. Anyway, Who is in teal in the top right corner. Resolver is in orange in the top left corner. It's Orc versus Human, in case you couldn't tell. By the way, in this series I mentioned that Resolver wins all 5 games were tower pushes. So, if you want to see how the human wins it, just watch the other 3 games. You can download them from replays.net or from the ZOTAC website, which I might link to here, but probably not. It's linked in the other commentaries I do on ZOTAC games. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's the preliminaries out of the way at the start. By the way, this is Twisted Meadows, in case you couldn't tell that. So, I'm going to unpause right now. Ding. Alright. So, Who's putting up an altar? This is all very standard. The reason I paused the game so early was because I want to talk about burrows right away. Burrows go behind buildings in this matchup. In Human versus Orc, your burrow placement has to be in a position where you assume you're going to get tower pushed, because that's the only thing where you'll really care about the burrow placement. Yes, you have to worry about the harass, burrow raping, but in general, Human is not going to burrow rape you as much as, say, Night Elf with Mass Talons is. If Who were playing a Night Elf with Mass Talons, he would probably have put his burrow much further back, perhaps even below his gold mine, or even up here. Lyn would probably put his burrow where I have the selection square right now. Lyn is very defensive with his burrows against mass towers. Who would probably put it here or back here. Against towers, though, you want to defend your buildings with your burrows. So this is a good place for it. It protects the altar. It prevents towers from going up in this area. That would be a very dangerous place to have towers up. So it's important to have a burrow there. Just if you can't understand where to place your burrows, I admit it's hard. It's a lot harder to see where to place the burrows. It's easier to just think, where do I not want towers to go up? Probably right between my barracks and altar would be a bad place for the towers to go up. That would be extremely dangerous. And then the next place that you don't want them to go up is in front of your barracks, where they can cancel it, especially on the tree line where you have less room to kill the peasants and stuff. So, burrow here, good choice. Burrow is also behind the barracks, which means that this side of the map of the base is pretty much not susceptible to towers. And notice that who is scouting that direction as well. Sending out an early scout is important, because you're going to need to harass, and you need to find your opponent. In fact, he sends out a second scout. And that, I think, shows the well, this is not really a scout. He's building a voodoo lodge, actually, so never mind. But I think... I'm not sure if he was thinking of sending out a scout and then decided to build a voodoo lodge, because this is a little bit far outside his base. I think it may be a little too far. And, as we'll see, the position of the voodoo lodge does cost who a bit later. But, at any rate, scouting early is important. You're going to need to harass. Who has not found his opponent yet, so he's going to have to creep. And this is unfortunate. He would much rather be harassing Resolver, who is creeping the lab with militia. A very risky way to creep, because you can lose peasants to a creep jack very easily. He already lost, I believe, 2 peasants in that creeping. But he did get a vampiric aura, which is either a good aura or a lot of gold, and he got level 2. So, because who was unable to harass, he basically gave up the level 2 to the Archmage, and that's not something you want to do. Humans' primary goal at tier 1 is to get to level 2 on their Archmage, and once they get that, their primary goal becomes to get to level 3. Also, who has sold his TP? And why do you sell your TP? Basically, because you're going to be fighting in your base if you're going to face towers. I don't know much about Resolver, but from this game, from this series, when he towers 5 times, I'm guessing he likes to tower. And who probably knows this and is expecting towers, and that's why he sells his TP. He might anyway. Now that who is finally finished creeping his orange, he's almost level 2. He's multitask creeping with his grunts to make sure that he gets level 2. And what's more, as soon as he finishes creeping that camp, he goes for the harass. And he's chasing the Archmage. He hits level 2. That'll give him extra mana for Windwalk, which is incredibly important. And extra damage. And critical. And all of these are very important. So, definitely your goal as an Orc has to be to get level 2. Also, you can do it by creeping that orange and then multitask creeping the Brute camp, or the Knoll camp, I guess, with your grunts. So, that camp is not hard to creep. If you can't multitask creep that, you need to practice it until you can do that. That's the basics of multitask creeping. Now, it's the first dot of night, so, well, it's past that now. So, who went and bought the boots, and now, once he bought the boots, he gets his grunts again, and comes after the Archmage, because chasing down the Archmage is a good thing. When the Archmage is level 3 like this, you want to try and harass it, force it, just don't let it harass your base. Try to take care of it earlier. Who tried to get the boots there, but that would have stolen the boots from the Archmage and made it basically an easy forced TP. But instead, the Archmage got the boots, and so now the Blade Master is slower. He's going to have to Windwalk to catch up. Fortunately, he has 2 Windwalks left, and he'll probably have a third. And this is important. He noticed a nice attempt at the block with the grunts, but unfortunately the Archmage slipped past. But he got 2 grunts hits in, and those are going to be key. And continues chasing the Archmage. Meanwhile, the human is doing exactly what's expected, sending his units to harass. You might say, oh look, the burrow's out in the open, it's costing him. No. If the burrow were further back in the base, the human would just go further back in the base to get it. The footman can fit through basically anything, and you'll notice the orc doesn't have a lot of buildings to block. So, burrow's out in front, still a good idea. Blade Master is going to have 2 more Windwalks, and if he didn't have level 2, he would not have 2 Windwalks here. Almost gets trapped on the trees. But basically, just by chasing the Archmage around like this, he's certainly going to be able to hurt Resolver, especially because Resolver's base build is such that his Archmage can't get inside. He's going to be able to chase it around a lot, and now he Windwalks, Resolver's forced to TP, and immediately who runs to try and kill the Archmage, but he finds the base is blocked. Unfortunately, that means the Archmage is also inside, and can't get out, so Resolver's going to have to do something about that. But, this is better than having an open base build and just getting the Archmage killed, and then he's used a TP and lost his Archmage. And he can basically say GG, or at least say goodbye to the tower push at that point. Who's hit